What's up, Earthlings? RJ Sampson coming to you here from the mothership. Today we're going to be talking about brand strategy. Figured it makes sense because that's what this channel is going to be about. Um, but before we jump into what brand strategy is, I want to quickly go over what is a brand and get on the same page about that. Um, so I've heard a lot of different ways of hearing a brand described. It's a logo, it's a promise. Basically, what you need to know is there's a lot of different ideas out there about what makes a brand a brand. The thing I think it makes most sense for you as a business owner to understand with a brand and the way to view it is to understand that a brand is what they say it is, and they being your customers and can even be your employees too, and understand that your brand over time isn't actually under your control. The way the market and the world works now is there's so much competition, so many different choices for your customers and your employees that they actually have the voting power on where to spend their time, their energy, their effort, their money. So understanding that will let you realize, okay, I need to be focused on them. So what you actually have control of is not necessarily your brand, but your branding. By adding the ing, right? It's now your efforts and your decisions and your choices and your influence on what your brand becomes. Um, so the reason that's important is to understand what the brand gap is. The brand gap is what's in your brain and how far it is away from what's in your customer's mind. So I could sit here and say and tell you all day long till I'm blue in the face that I'm an astronaut. I can wear the suit like I am, but if you don't believe me that I'm an astronaut, then it's all for nothing. So it's your efforts and your intentions and your actions that are driving the branding to help influence the brand. And so that's where brand strategy comes in. So the best way that I figured out to describe brand strategy and kind of condense it into as small a phrase as possible is brand strategy is a framework, and yes, I'm going to read this so I get it just right. Framework that guides your business on the experience it creates for its customers with the goal of creating long-term relationships. So a little bit of a mouthful. I got it down as small as I could, but there's four key things in there I believe are important for you as a business owner to really understand. The first one, brand strategy is a framework. So this is going to help you with your decision making. Your most important job as a business owner is to make decisions. One of my jobs is to help make that easier for you so you can make better and not just better decisions, but faster decisions as well. The second part is it's helping to create an experience. Every time your customer comes in, we want to create that experience for them. So every single touch point, every single time they interact with your customer, or sorry, with your employees, you want to make sure that they get that experience, right? We don't just want them thinking that you're just another type of business where you're doing just enough to get by. Good enough is not good enough for businesses anymore if you want to thrive. The next point that's important is its customers, right? Its customers, not just customers in general, but what are your customers? Who are they? Your messaging needs to be targeted towards them, their specific needs, and their specific wants. If it's not, then I don't know who you're talking to, but they're they're not your customers. And then the fourth thing to think about is long-term relationships. This isn't a building a brand isn't about transactional interactions, right? I give something to you, you give something to me, they give something to you, you give something back. It's about creating this almost like a friendship with your customers so that they have this good feeling about the business and understanding that you're not just trying to nickel and dime them at every opportunity, but that you're going to give them value over time. So keep those four things in mind when you're thinking about that definition of brand strategy. Now, next I want to talk about what actually goes into the process of going through brand strategy and a brand strategy workshop. So we break it down into three parts here. The first part is purpose, which is really understanding, why is this business starting? What is it trying to accomplish? What is the soul of the business? How does it operate? The next part is this positioning. So that's more of understanding where your business is going to fit inside the industry that you're in. You look at competitors, you look at your audience, which is extremely important, and just looking at how is your business standing on its own? How is it different than other businesses? And the third part that we go through is what's called the persona, which is really understanding how do we start making those connections between your purpose and your positioning and how does it interact with the world? So visuals, messaging, um, taglines, those types of things to really make sure that what you're putting out there resonates with your customers. And the real benefits that you get from brand strategy, you're talking about clarity within the business. So we talked about some decision making earlier. That's a huge benefit, especially as you as a business owner. But it also trickles down into your employees. When they understand the framework, they understand what the business is trying to accomplish. They can make better decisions on their own. You don't have to micromanage. Your customers then have a more clarity onto your business because you're able to more clearly tell them what your business is about. If they're confused, they're not going to make a decision and they're not going to interact with your business. They're just going to move on to the next one. Our attention spans are too short to deal with any more confusion than we want to or than we need to. We're also talking about alignment within your own company, right? Getting all of your employees and all of your leadership on the same page so that we can move forward in the right direction. Doesn't mean every little decision you're all going to agree on, but in the general consensus of where you guys are going, it's all going to make sense. And then, of course, most importantly is customer and employee loyalty. When they understand what you're about and you've built this culture because of the brand strategy, they now can decide whether or not they want to be a part of it. It's much easier for them to figure that out. And if they do want to be a part of it, they now have the foundation to really understand what you're about, what they're going to get, and through creating those experiences and creating the long-term relationships, they'll stay with you longer. So I hope you found this useful for an explanation on brand strategy. If you have questions, please leave any comments, like, share as well, and we'll see you next time.